Hello and welcome to the Punished for Protecting Live broadcast with your host, Francesca Amato, national expert in the Americans with Disabilities Act, domestic violence and child abuse advocate, best-selling author, and founder of Punished for Protecting Incorporated. We welcome all of our viewers watching on Facebook via Punished for Protecting News and the CPS News Network. If you're watching on YouTube at Punish No More and Free to Protect, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. You can also find Punish for Protecting News on Rumble. Now, without further ado, here is your host, Francesca Amato.
Wow, guys, you're never going to believe who I was finally able to track down. And many of you have been wondering where this this website has been, that's been circulating throughout social media, is from. And it's Kenneth Gottfried. And I have him today to interview on the show. And he's going to go over everything, the website that he has put up to report the judges, the family court judges and judges in general, and the horrible things that they have been doing in our nation for many decades. So he's also a three-time author that we're going to talk about today on the show as well. But without further ado, let me bring him out. Kenneth Gottfried. Yeah.
Hello, Francesca. Thank you for having me on.
You know, you have a great name, Gottfried, and it's like literally what we're trying to do here, right? Get us free from this insanity.
From the tyranny. Yeah. I mean, you would never in a million years, and most of us never in a million years would think, well, if I go to Division of Child Services to report suspected child abuse, where they wouldn't write a report and wouldn't investigate. None of us, I don't think, would ever think, oh, that's going to happen to me. And then when you go up the ladder all the way, Sheriff's Department, Police Department, all these other, FBI, SBI, Attorney General, you would never think, oh my God, all these people are in collusion to harm your children and to literally bankrupt you.
Yeah. I've been doing it for 15 years, and it took me about the first, I had the questions in the first few years, like, this can't be happening. I mean, and then I started court watching judges all over, and I'm like, they just made the absolute worst decision, like not a normal person would make it. And I try to figure out, why would they do that? And that's when I opened it up to realize it's the child trafficking industry. It's the gateway door. So, yeah, totally. So why would they do why would they make it better? Why would they do the right thing?
When I took a look at this, from the exterior, it's only $70 billion a year to the states from Title 4D and E. Okay. And you're like, 70 billion, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of fight we have to fight against.
That's it.
But right. It's not. It's 70 billion there. It's 250 billion that go out to the psychological associations, the forensic psychologists, the lawyers, the backroom deals with the judges. So now we're at $300 billion.
Yeah.
But even worse than that,
higher. Mm-hmm.
You've got another $380 billion just in depression medications from Big Pharma.
Mm-hmm.
So we are fighting all the establishment plus Big Pharma, and no wonder that the Sheriff's Department, the police departments, they won't even take a report. I mean, most of us have already gone and said, I would like to file a report against this judge. And they're like, yeah, go away, kid. You bother us.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's insane. It's absolutely something you would never anticipate. Even, and unfortunately, I was back the blue until I was like 50.
Right.
And then the rose-colored glasses got slapped off my face.
That's right. That's right. It is. It's sad because it's like they target it doesn't matter who you are, race, color, age, weight, party, no matter what it is, economic status. It doesn't matter if rich or poor. they try to say, oh, it just happens to such and such. No, no, no. It happens to everyone, anybody that they can get their hands on and anybody that they can get money from.
Exactly.
So, and it doesn't matter if you're a multimillionaire. If they think that they're off limits, they're not. And I know because I have clients of all ranges.
$5.5 million.
It's, and you're right. And that's a lot of people. I see a lot of people say, it's a multi-million-dollar industry. No, honey, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And they're popping up now where they're having, it'll be like child predator services, family court, and, social services all in one building. So it's like, I call it the one-stop shopping for all your family's disastrous, future.
Unfortunately, I hate to laugh, but unfortunately it's true. That's one of the reasons I wrote one of my books, which is called Killing Judges. Because literally up till about 7 years ago, social media has helped out tremendously in this, because they came on and then you started hearing about the groups from Bill Burnett and Amy Baker, and then you started hearing about Dr. Craig Childress, and they're all starting to write books, Richard Warshak, all these people. And one of the things that happens to every one of us, that first book that you pick up, you're in love with whoever wrote that. Whether it's Amy Baker, whether it doesn't matter, because it's like, this is my life.
Yes.
How did they know my life?
It's a vindication. Yeah.
And so as an alienated parent, as someone going through this and going through family court or going through CPS, you're like, oh my God, they don't give a shit. Oops, sorry. They don't care about the children at all. The whole thing is a facade.
Yes.
And it's scary. It's so scary.
It's very scary. Sorry, forgive my hand. I've been, we've been seeing a lot of successes actually in the courts, and I do it nationwide because we're invoking. Well, I'm invoking like the Americans with Disability Act and the and human rights. And it took a long time to get where we're finally at right now. I don't want to see the system up at all. I want to see it completely abolished. And I believe that they need to be arrested for their treasonous actions.
Totally.
But I'm seeing a shift in some judges. I'm seeing them actually get rid of the judges that are really, 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 really bad and putting in more respectful judges now, believe it or not, which blew me away because for 15 years, I've never seen that. And I think it's because of the rise of the fact that we are not backing down. There's people might have fell off. And there's groups that are popping up that are kind of like copycat groups. But for the rest of us that have maintained and we stayed in the front lines and we just kept going, they're seeing we're not backing down. And a lot of us are winning. Not that you're winning, you've been destroyed in the midst, but we're winning these cases. And they're saying, you know what? These people really do realize who they are, and they're not going to tolerate this garbage anymore. So,
exactly.
And I know it sounds like, there's so much negative to it, and it's just such pure evil, really. But I like to always encourage people that we have seen some light at the end of these tunnels, so to speak. And I really love what you did. And I have, hold on.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, why don't we, before we even get into, because I see the audience building up here, and I'd like to make sure that nobody misses the most important part, which is what you've been doing with this FBI investigation and getting judges on there. And I want everybody to have an opportunity to spread this video out wherever you're seeing it, either whether it be Rumble, whether it be Punished for Protecting News. It will air tomorrow, I believe, or later tonight on CPS News Network. It's live right now on the YouTube channel, which is Punish No More and Free to Protect. But you have written 3 books, it looks like here, and I'd like you to kind of talk about these books. So why don't we start with the first one here that I've got? I don't know if this is in order of the first book, but
this is actually the second.
Okay.
This book is about, it's actually trying to protect the judges. Even though you see killing judges, there is no way that nowadays, with people knowing what the judges are doing to their families and, abusing their kids, there are too many people with too many guns who are going to say, you are abusing my kid and I'm not going to take it. And so this is all about how they get money from Title 4D, all the racket between the sheriff's department, the child protected or child, what'd you say CPS was?
I coined the phrase years ago, either child predator services or child pedophilia services. You pick one.
Child predator services is perfect because, how dare they,
Mhm.
when you go into them, say, I want to report suspected child abuse in all 50 states. You better have a report and you better do an investigation. But when it comes, sexual abuse, physical abuse, they're already with their pens. But psychological abuse, they turn around and run away and tell you to get out.
Yeah.
And
100%.
it is horrific when a parent's witnessing that going on with their child.
Yep, they love abuse. This system thrives off of abuse. So this
They
is
do.
the second book you wrote. What I like about it, so basically it's an eye catcher, killing judges. But basically what you're saying is it's trying to tell these judges, step up, or else this was
You better
we're not
step up,
threatening.
because unlike us, you 15 years ago, me 9 years ago, what's happening? There was
Mhm,
nothing on social media, or very little. And
mhm.
I don't understand what's going on. I could see there's something wrong in my child's eyes. You can
100%.
see, you can literally see it. But if you're talking psychological abuse, you don't know exactly what it is. And most of us, day one of divorce or separation, we never heard of psychological abuse,
Yeah.
and so we get into this, and then we find out what's happening. Then we find out how bad it is. And then we do research on divorce. And then we go in and we're like, why isn't somebody doing anything? You're
Right.
trying to
Well,
throw
I can
flags.
tell you that the censorship has been off the charts since about 2 years ago, because I went massively viral, and then it went like they literally Facebook jailed me. Like, as soon as I got out, I was back in, and then I was back in, and I would post nothing different than somebody else that was not in Facebook jail, but because of what I'm talking about here. And what's helped my clients is the ADA, is the Americans with Disability Act. Once I invoke those federal codifications in the court, it's game over. So they try to either they let me in and they're respectful and things change. And you can ask my clients, I've done interviews after interviews where they're like, I can't believe the difference. Or they won't let me in at all. They'll say, you're not a licensed attorney. I said, I never said I was one. Like, and first of all, show me one. Show me. I haven't seen one yet in the country, a licensed attorney. I've seen certified bar members, but I've never yet seen a licensed attorney. I've seen a licensed medical practitioner, but I've never seen a licensed. Can you show me this license? And they can't. So anyway. So
Yeah,
what's this
no.
one? Is this the first or the third book? This one here.
That is the first. That is the first one.
That's the first. Okay.
That is about how, how can I say this? The American Psychological Association. They wrote a letter to President Trump about the horror for children and parents who are coming across the border, who they separated. And they took a look at all the damage. They said, we have, documented evidence, decades of research, empirical data, that by doing this, it destroys children, and it could lead to a lifetime of emotional issues.
That's
And
right.
psychological issues. For a parent, it can easily kill a parent. They even had a father from Honduras. Only, out of 2,000 people that were separated, one of them killed himself, hung himself in jail.
Yeah.
So they know, the American Psychological Association knows this kills parents. This absolutely abuses children and can kill children. But one of the things is it grows their base.
That's right.
I mean, if you have mental and psychological issues for a lifetime, you got plenty of clients. Not only that, but we'll get the kickbacks from all those depressive medications, PTSD,
right.
and all the stuff that the kids wind up with.
That's right. So, and it's been proven. What gets me is that and I believe anybody should be separated from each other, any children from their families, but they're concerned about the border. But what about within our border? Like, it's child trafficking on steroids throughout our border. And now they want to open the border because it's letting them into the drug cartel and the child sex trafficking cartel. And we want to fund that, so we
Absolutely.
can keep this going. So people don't understand this is very tied together. But if they really cared about the kids at the border, which they do not, that's a lie. Okay.
Exactly.
Then why do they not care about the kids within our borders and every day that, whatever control they have over them?
And what happened is I wrote a letter shortly after that, because I literally spoke to the president of the APA, Dr. Jessica Daniel.
Mhm.
And I was like, what about, what about this? What's going on with this? She said, oh, I don't know anything about this. And then like a week later, I found out about the letter she sent out to President Trump. And so what I did is I wrote her a letter. I was like, how could you say 2,000 people separated at the border? You could do a letter in 2 weeks and get that out. But yet, can you answer me these questions? What about the millions of parents who were separated from their kids in family court? She refused to answer. She made excuse. And this was back in June. She made excuse after excuse after excuse. I called her up at least a dozen times. Hey, when are you going to respond to this? We had over 350 emails sent to her email. We'd like to see your response.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
they know
the American Psychological Association has no problem with abusing kids and murdering parents.
No, they 100% what they're doing.
They know it happens. They know all about it. Now, I didn't just stop at Dr. Jessica Daniel. I literally have spoken to every single president all along the way. Okay. The last 6 presidents I have spoken to directly or emailed them directly, and they all are like, we're not going to get in on this. Okay. They actually, the American Psychological Association sued me for one of my websites. Because they had the APA.com and I had American Psychological ASSOC.com, and I still have American Psychological ASS.com, and it has all the stuff there, and it's horrific. Just answer the question. How come you care about these refugees and don't give a damn about 1 million children and parents being separated?
Right.
No answer.
No, they don't want to answer that because they know already. And we went down and we did a command to Congress, and they were all nice to us. And then all of a sudden, crickets, no emails, no calls back, no nothing. When I did the command to Congress, when I gave the laws that says that we want this completely done, we have the right to do that. We are literally your boss. It's not the other way around. Yep. That was the end of it. That was done. It was a done deal. It was a done deal.
I think one of the problems that we have is they come out, and I love the tagline, child abusers wear black robes.
Oh yeah, here I was going to bring that up actually. That's your where is it? That's this one.
That's my 3rd book. That
love it.
book, I made it like under $4 or $3 because this is how you go after these child abusers. If you go after them alone and you try and charge them at the CPS or at the sheriff's department, they will kick you around and basically say, go away, go away. If you go in there with a videotape, you go in there with 2 of your friends and 2 of your relatives and say, listen, we suspect this is child abuse. We are videotaping this. It's going to be live streamed, or it's going to be up in about a day. I want a copy of the report, and I want to make sure that there's an investigation with somebody who is specialized in this type of psychological abuse. Only at that time will you get any traction. If you try and do it alone, you will just get further abused. It's what's known as a secondary injury in psychological terms, because that's what the APA does. They will pay you no attention. They don't care about what's going on in your life, and they will not investigate it, and they will treat you like the crazy person. And so, their goal is to actually harm further children and parents. That's called a secondary injury when an organization that is supposed to help kids refuses to and makes you out to be the crazy one.
Well, and it's their goal because they're making money through the whole thing. And that's what I've explained to people.
$1 trillion a year.
Yeah. They're making money. Everything every child has a dollar sign. Every family has a dollar sign. What do you own? What is your real estate? What is your value? What do you own? We want it. So how are we going to get it? We want to make sure that our attorneys get it. So we want to make sure the judges get it, and so on and so forth. They don't even need backdoor deals. They're doing it right through the system itself.
Oh, it's horrible. You want to hear a horrible story?
Sure.
So I had my first attorney, and I don't like to get into too much about my stuff because honestly, you listen to my stuff, you've already heard it 500 times. But this is how corrupt the bar associations are. My first attorney, who I fired, and the attorney firm is, I'm not going to say their name, but they represented me. I fired them. 2.5, 3 years later, I am talking to CPS, Tom Hughes, son of a bitch, who I'm like, we need to do an investigation on this for my child. He's like, I can't speak to anymore. Please go speak to our attorney. Who's your attorney? My attorney. My attorney, who I had 2.5, 3 years ago, is now their attorney advising them. And I went to the Bar Association and said, this is a huge conflict of interest.
Right.
And you know what they said? We don't see anything wrong.
Yeah, they conveniently don't see anything they don't want to see or hear. They literally, it. One that really infuriates me before we go to a commercial.
Go ahead.
And this probably drives you crazy too. And because I do it nationwide.
Not a long drive.
Not a long drive. The committees on judicial conduct, or worse, the committees for child attorney conduct. Now, the committees on judicial conduct never find anything wrong. They do an investigation, just like the FBI does an investigation, and then they say they don't have jurisdiction. They all use the same thing. Once they do the investigation, they no longer have jurisdiction. You could send them every federal law. You can send them every law, every violation, every whatever it is, and know that you've done a forensic on everything, and you've proven it with overwhelming stacks of evidence, and they'll still tell you there's nothing there to do anything against it. But the worst is the one for the child attorneys, because they'll look at it. They're the most unethical, horrible things that they could possibly do under the Bar Association's code of ethics. And They'll tell you, we're sorry, there's nothing we can do until you're out of the case. So, but basically what you're telling me is that you're going to allow the child attorneys, which is even more detrimental to the life of a child or children, you're going to let them get away with all the unethical behavior that they're doing, lying in court and all the stuff that they're doing, leaving the children with abusers and the whole spiel, because you have to wait. Where did you come up with this rule that you have to wait till the case is over before we can hold the child attorney accountable?
Absolutely. And do you need to go to a commercial? Because there's a point that I want to.
Go ahead and make it, and then we'll go to the commercial. I think we'll be
all 50 states.
Yeah.
Regardless of who you are, attorney, judge, sheriff, police department, there is a law on the books mandated. If you suspect child abuse, or if somebody comes to you and says there's child abuse, you have to report it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. And when you try and file charges against that person who didn't, the sheriff's department will be like, I see nothing. I'm not going to do a thing. And, God forbid you should bring that up with other people, because they refuse. It comes back to the same thing that you and I will agree on wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. Laws are only written for you, not for us.
There's a penal code in every state that says if you knowingly and willingly send a child into the hands of abuse, and then they label the abuse and it becomes a misdemeanor and it works its way to a felony depending on the level of abuse. But if a family court judge puts that in a court order that you have to send the child to that abuser, now in your natural normalcy of being a parent, you're not going to do that. But now you're forced to do that. So it's like, hello, where does that make any sense?
It doesn't. That's why I'm stuttering.
Yeah. We're going to go to commercial, and I'm going to look at your comments, guys. Don't forget to share.
We'll be right back after a message from Punished for Protecting Incorporated. Each new generation of protective mothers is shocked when they first go to family court and find it doesn't favor single mothers and is willing to jeopardize children. Francesca's harrowing experience with the broken family court system, from which she finally received justice after 8 months of struggle, is proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Francesca has one of these unspeakably cruel cases and has responded by shining a large spotlight on widespread failures so other mothers won't be shocked. Punished for Protecting the Injustice System of Family Court by Francesca Amato Banfield, advocate, mother, whistleblower, founder, and TV talk show host of Punished for Protecting. If you are struggling with injustices wrought by our courts, this book will help guide you through the process. Available on Amazon.com. Search Punished for Protecting and get your copy today. Help abolish family court by purchasing Punished for Protecting merchandise. Here are our top sellers. See the link in the YouTube video description to find out how to get your Punished for Protecting t-shirt. Get your high-quality Punished for Protecting t-shirt while supplies last, and let everyone know that you stand for justice. Are you being re-victimized by the family court system? Do you need help with your case? Go online and book a talk with Francesca. Go to punished4beingAparent.com/book-a-talk. Fill in your name, email address, and message to Francesca. Someone will get back to you within 24 hours. Francesca and her staff of volunteers continue to work tirelessly every single day for parents and children who are in need of their help. There have been multiple success stories, including Francesca's, which gives hope to others in similar situations. Punished for Protecting Incorporated has incurred out-of-pocket expenses with zero funding to help families get their children back or to save their children from being taken. We also have provided funds to help with retainers, food, lodging, and travel. We really need your help so we can continue to provide our many services. Any amount is greatly appreciated. If you'd like to donate or sponsor a family in need of help, go to Cash App, Free the Children. And now back to our broadcast.
Before we go back to the broadcast, I do have a special treat. It's called Awake, and it is a song, and I want you guys to hear it. We finally got it uploaded, so I'm very excited about this.
Are you awake yet? Has it finally dawned on you? Do you see the world for what it is and the reality that it's turning into? Are you awake yet? Have your eyes done seen the light? Do you feel the anger deep within when you realize and discover all the lies? Are you awake yet? Don't you see how we're being played? The more we stay divided, then the more that day I'll have the gain. Are you awake yet? To learn and not repeat the past? For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. We must awaken. So let's rise and come together, despite all our differences. All nations and religions, all lifestyles and races. Get past this grand illusion war. We must awaken. We must awaken. Are you awakened? You still might be asleep. Penny hanger at those who try and wake them from their dream. It's a battle that is spiritual to control what you think. Be free to own your mind, or free you'll never be. So let's rise and come together despite all our differences. All nations and religions, all lifestyles and races. Get past this grand illusion. We have no power and no hope. And understand the difference between being awake and woke. So let's rise and come together despite all our differences. All nations and religions, all lifestyles and races. Get past this grand illusion. No power and no hope. And understand the difference between being awake and our war. We must awaken. We must awaken. We must awaken. Are you
Wow, that, I mean, if that's not
That was awesome.
yeah, I'm very excited about that. And I believe it's the first time it's premiered actually too. So I was very honored to be able to bring that song out. And it's perfect for what we're even talking about right now. But now for the moment that everybody's been waiting for, if you look on the screen, we have a website called childabusejudges.com.
Child abusive.
Childabusejudges.com. Go ahead and take it away with that.
Go online, the front page, go online. You can fill out a form there, and I will make sure it gets into the hands of the FBI. Right now, we have over 415 judges accused of child abuse.
Wow.
On another site, we actually have, it's childabusiveregistry.com.
Wow.
It has over 2,500 lawyers, CPS attorneys, all the other POSs who are actually refusing to do anything or protecting the child abusers.
That's right. That's exactly what they're doing.
And so while I may get one judge, two judges from somebody, on the bottom, there's an area you can fill out with the attorneys, the gals, the forensic psychologist, all these people who are involved in abusing your kids.
It's amazing. And I know that, I don't know how many there is now, but the one that I had gotten in the New York Post, the one that I wrote the book about, Judge Anthony McGinty of Ulster County, and Ulster County is like, what a cesspool. I mean, I can't even say what I'm going to be doing very shortly. I have a meeting tomorrow. I told you before we came on here, I'm like at the edge of my seat and I can't say anything yet, but they won't let me into the court for this specific case in Ulster County, and they have no comprehension of the Americans with Disability Act, and they're violating it very severely in Ulster County Family Court. They're doing that in Erie County as well. And I do this nationwide. So they don't even understand the amount of trouble that they're in. But this judge violated so bad, and he was literally in the New York Post. Millions saw it. I got him in the Daily Freeman. I wrote a book about him. How many
Awesome.
did he get? It's on. I know that there was like an outrageous amount of
You
complaints.
know, I know that you came in, and I've kind of been stalking you a little bit. And I want to say thank you, because I know I've seen you talk in front of these groups. You are freaking fearless, and I love that. Is
Okay.
that you just tell them exactly how it is, and they sit there and they're like, you know, they have blinders on, and
Yeah.
they're like, why is somebody talking to us like this? And they're realizing, oh, we may have an issue with family court, but so many of these politicians, you know, they're getting money from the drug industry, from you know, bar associations, from wherever, and a lot of them are old lawyers. They know how the game is played.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you, because
Oh,
I love the way you handle yourself in the things that I've seen when you're sitting up there and talking to these
well,
corrupt people.
what I really kind of happy about is that, like, I don't know which ones you've seen, but one where I was very poised and professional. I had to come back the following year, and it was actually after COVID, so we skipped a year, and I had the same commissioner in the state of New York named Sheila Poole. Everybody that knows New York knows her, and how I told her, I put her in her place twice. But the second time I wasn't nice about it. The first time I was more respectful. The second time I was like, I don't even know why we're here. Like, I was just like so annoyed. She's gone now. I just want to let you know she's gone now.
Good.
It only took like 8 years, but she's gone now, you know. But that's why I'm saying, just keep going, everybody that is doing this, you know, because I had a very successful situation with a chief judge in Virginia Beach, and this poor mom, she suffered so bad for so many years, and she's being treated like such garbage that she broke down crying in the court when I was there, because the judge treated her with such respect that she never knew what that was like to be treated that way. And that was a chief judge. I literally called the court and I actually commended the judge, and that's something I never do. Like, you never hear Francesca Amato called up and said, hey, great job, judge. Like, they know me as the abolish arrest woman, like, get rid of these psychopaths. That's
Yep.
what they know me as. So that's, you know, it's like, it shocked me that I'm actually seeing judges and they change. And the thing also is that the attorneys are so evil. Like, as soon as they see the judge doing the right thing, they throw everything they can into the pot. They try every trick in the game, Munchausen by proxy. They try to go against mental disabilities, which is a severe federal violation. You can't do that. It's even on the Department of Justice website now. It's from July 2022. Courts are mandated, and you cannot discriminate against parents that you've caused to have disabilities, because you caused this. You caused the post-traumatic stress disorder. You caused the anxiety. You caused the depression. You did this because you took away their children, and you prevented them from protecting them.
And you know, I kind of get the feeling here, and this is one of the reasons that I did speak to you. At the same point, on the guys' side,
Yeah,
I don't want to be guys or girls, but we get the same thing. We get the silver bullet. We get this. We get that. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get into a
you're cool
on this, but you know, it happens on everybody.
The thing is, I try to show them that this isn't just a fatherless home situation. It's not that at all. Okay, they're trying to destroy the home. They're destroying children. And the fathers that are non-abusive fathers, that are normal men. Okay, I love fathers. I respect men. I respect fathers. I respect husbands. But the ones that are the abusers, of course, those are the ones that I'm going to go after. Those are the ones that are getting the children in the family court. The good dads aren't getting the children in the family court. And the good dads aren't going to try to take the children 100% from the mother. Only an abusive father is going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have this one dad locally, I tell the story all the time, that I've known since I'm pretty young. And he had an abusive wife. He had a wife that was in and out of jail. She was on drugs. Their marriage ended up, he waited for her basically to get her act together. And thankfully it turned out to be a good story, a good happy ending. It doesn't always happen, unfortunately. And of course, I always support that. I'd love to see that. But, you know, it broke his heart that he had to safeguard his children from her. He's not a bad dad. He was a good overall, a real man. So it's nothing against men. It's against the family court abuser men. And what's happening to these?
There's the family court abuser women as well.
Yeah,
I don't want to men or women. I don't like getting into that fight. Whoever is abusing kids is
should
not
be. and shouldn't have custody of children and shouldn't have custody and shouldn't have access to kids.
Exactly.
You know, but yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she was literally in and out of jail. This woman, she was on drugs. He wasn't anything like that. He was a straight-laced guy. So, but it broke his heart is what I'm trying to say. He wasn't, you know, because he wasn't made up like that. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't that guy, you know? So that's what I'm trying to say. And it's like, and it's always been this narrative that it's the fatherless home. It's a fatherless home. You know what happens to children when it's a motherless home? like we have to wake up to the fact that children are being abused and mothers and fathers are being abused. And, you know, I believe it's the devil. The devil wants to destroy the home, period. He wants to destroy the nuclear family. He wants to destroy that.
Do you say devil or politicians?
The devil, the devil, the politicians.
I think it's
the same person, the courts, the judges. It's the same it's the same evil. You know, it really is. And they, you know, like if they had any humanity in them, normal people couldn't do this to other people. They couldn't. I couldn't hurt another person like that. You know, you couldn't do that. You couldn't look at a little child and be like, oh, I don't care if tomorrow you're living there and the next day you're living there. What do I care? Like, how do you go to sleep at night knowing what you did during the day affected the lives of how many lives and children?
You know, I always had this in the back of my mind that on every gavel on a family court judge, they have notches of how many children they abused and how many parents they've killed. I think it's like the show how horrible they are, but yet to other judges, you know, they can show it off. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think they do. I think that I honestly, I've said that too, that I think they get their rocks off on it. You know, I mean, let's face it, child trafficking is a very sick and evil thing to do to kids, right? And just trafficking in general. So if you can do this, if you pass that threshold where your heart is evil at this point, it's hardened, and you could abuse a child, and then you could sexually abuse a child. What do you care? You're sitting there in your robe, like you said, and what do you care? You don't care. You're like, I care.
And you have this false bravado of, you know, child's best interest. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're destroying families.
Yeah.
And I've seen it again and again and again.
Me too.
You know, and what's horrible is I have childabusivejudges.com. I get calls because the child abusers who are judges in my case, Hal G. Harrison, he's a son of a bitch. I get calls from other people who have him. Rebecca Eggers Grider, who have her. She's abusing my kids. What do? I don't even know what to tell them. You know, what do you say? Go to the police where they won't do anything? Go to the CPS where they won't do anything? And that's why I escalated it all the way to the FBI. And I'm like, listen, I am not the only one just on these judges. I have 400 plus judges. And they're like, you know.
Let's talk about that, because this is why I want to have you on. So I want to go back to like 2016, 2017. I took buses of people to the New York FBI, and then a whole bunch of us, and I went repeatedly to the Washington, D.C. FBI, and they did investigations. And at the end of their investigations, and they actually, me and another woman actually that was there, we were talking legalese. We just were, because it's what we know. It's like, you know. And so he said, "Oh, listen, we're in this room. We're in this table, and at this table, and just tell us the stories. Don't give us the legal stuff. We'll add that in, like to down talk us and to make us ignorant." So we did that. So we did that. It didn't matter what we did. It didn't matter if I brought in pictures of the judge slaying somebody. They wouldn't care. Okay. But at the end of the day, they didn't have jurisdiction, is what they said. That was their bogus bull crap. Okay.
Totally.
But what I think is so good about this website that you have here and what you're doing is that, and what I try to encourage everybody to do is don't look at anything. And I know it's not easy, especially if you're going through it. Don't look at anything negative. Just take that and just don't even go there with it. Because yes, we're going to talk about the negative things that are happening, but just stay focused like you would be if you were in the military and all of a sudden the war broke out and you're trained for that now. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go, oh no. You're going to have to just finish the job, right? And you're going to take your brother with you. No person left behind, right? That's how it's supposed to be when you're in the military, right? Yep. You can't leave anybody behind. So don't look at the negative. They're going to say their stupid stuff. They're going to look you in the eyes like they care. They don't care. And at the end of the day, they're going to tell you they don't have jurisdiction. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. If all these people share a video like this and share this website and just keep doing it, okay? I promise you something will happen, because for 15 years, like I said, now all of a sudden I got a judge asking me, several judges saying, Miss Amato, did I violate the ADA today? Okay, Miss Amato, did I do the right thing here? And I'll read off the federal codifications and I'll say, hold on, excuse me, court has to stop for a second. XYZ is happening. You need to remedy this right away. And they fix it. Okay, did I ever think that day was going to come? No, but it is here now. Now, how many negatives happened for years that I didn't get to that point? So the same thing with this. So don't stop, keep going. That's one of the encouragements. The other thing that I spoke to you before we came live, I can't say it just yet. We have something very powerful that's about to kick some major butt, and the courts are going to have a major slap in the face, and they're going to have to do what they have to do. That's another thing. Of course, I want it abolished, like I said, but in the meantime, we've got victims in there. And while we've got victims in there, we got to save them from the fire. So we got to work with what we've got until we do get it, hopefully, completely done for. Okay.
Yep.
So that's another thing. And there's multiple things going on here. If you feel something is wrong, trust your gut. It is wrong. And you will find the law that matches that. We don't need to change laws. They're already there. The article, the Bill of Rights, the Articles of Human Rights, they're violating that every single day. Okay. You're born with them. They can't take them away, whether you're in jail, whether you're out of jail, you still have those same rights. They don't go away. The federal codifications under the Americans with Disability Act, when I'm in these courtrooms and I talk, and I'm not a licensed attorney, okay, with that nonsense, I have my own separate and distinct role. Things change. People's lives change for the better. Children get the protections they need, and we are able to start making them do what they're supposed to do. So don't give up. So you guys that are seeing this website right now, start doing it right now while you're watching this live interview, and start spreading it to your friends. You're going to know at least 10 people in 5 minutes just by getting on social media that's been negatively affected by the family court and the whole insanity behind it.
And if your kids are 5, 15, 25, 30, child abuse is child abuse. Report the judges. Doesn't matter how long it's been. Report the judges, because you can go back just as long as you want. Because if you didn't get a fair trial, your kids were abused. You've been isolated from them, and they've already been damaged.
Yeah.
Put that judge on there. Put it. We have different things like McGinty. How many does he have? 40, 60,
70 or something like that. He's loaded. Loaded, but they're all bad. I mean, they're all bad. They're just one carbon copy of the other. They're all
exactly.
But yes, keep pounding it. I know you're going to get nothing to see here. If you do the Committee on Judicial Conduct, but keep sending them in anyway. Just keep sending them in. And
as much as you can, get other people.
Yes.
Get your cousins, get your brothers, get your sisters, get your mom, get your grandparents, get your friends that have seen you for 5 years, 10 years with your kids, and they know you're a good parent.
Yes.
Bring them in, say, listen, I just want to file suspected child abuse. I want a copy of the report. And always, 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 this is what my third book is, always videotape your encounter. Do not do anything unless you have it on video. Because that video needs to go live or needs to go on Facebook and on your social media, so they can't say, oh, I don't remember this. No, you have that on video. Now this person is not filing reports because they're part of the system, and they're going to do their best to protect those child abusers because they see them every day.
Yes.
I actually had like 3 attorneys in Boone, North Carolina. One who literally came out and said, Ken, you were done wrong. You have a phenomenal case. And I refuse to take it because I have to eat. Yeah. And I can't go and say this judge is a child abuser and fight for you, knowing I've got to go to him tomorrow and I will get, totally destroyed. And whoever I'm representing will get totally destroyed. I have to play that game.
They get blacklisted, and there are some that have come to me and have said, what have you. But do you know how I answer that question? I'm going to tell you how I answer that question.
Please.
you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because you know what? We have to eat too. We have to support our children. And some of us are doing it as single parents. Okay. And yet we have hit the bottom of the barrel, right? We've gotten where we've had to scrape to the bottom. And yet we had our integrity and we didn't go and make sure our job wasn't to get paid to have children be trafficked. Our job wasn't to get paid to have children sexually abused. Our job wasn't, do you understand the difference? So if you have to, I'd rather go sweep floors at McDonald's than to get a paycheck from someplace that's abusing children. Okay.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it any better myself.
So shame on them. And I tell them straight up and they're like, yeah, but I got a house. And well, you know what? So do we. But so do these children. They had a house too, and now they don't. So how dare you? Don't even come to me with that, because do you understand that it's not just even happening to just one kid? It's happening to multi-million children. Okay.
Per year.
This is every year. Okay. This is not what we want. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stand down. We're not going to. Okay. If we haven't proven that by now, and then your eyes are completely shut tight. You don't see what's going on then. Okay. And we are saving children, and they may think they have a lot more power than us and a lot more money, but guess what? They don't. They do, but they don't win at the end. Okay. Because I've had success after success after success by the grace of God.
Awesome.
Okay? And so will you, and so will others, that if you just stay in, if you feel led to be doing this, I don't mean it's for everybody, then you need to stick with it and you need to continue to go forward, because you are saving lives. Okay.
True.
And we really don't have a choice. Like once you know this, it's what was her name? Terry LaPointe. It was before Congress with her a couple years ago. And those words have stayed with me forever. She said, I no longer can unsee what I've already seen. Okay. So now you got to do something about it. And if you're a lawyer being paid, a clerk being paid, whatever you are, a judge, and you still have a morsel of humanness inside of you, get a job someplace else, do something else, but don't do this. And you know what? There is a place for these people. You can use the intelligence that you have and the background that you have, and you can use it for good and get paid for doing good. Yeah. Somebody will pay you for doing the right thing versus doing the wrong thing.
Exactly. And everyone is afraid. Oh, if I go after this judge, I go and file child abuse charges. I go against these other attorneys. They're so afraid to buck anything. And it so quickly will, the Bar Association, oh, nothing to see here, will attack those attorneys. And that's what they're afraid of. They'll lose their bar,
who cares?
Their bar license in a heartbeat. And they're afraid of that. But they need to do what is right and what is right for the kids.
That's right.
And they need to go after, and they have to be prepared when you go after a judge. You better have that backup for the Bar Association to go after them. And you should have a handful of lawyers all going after them to point out the corruption in there.
They should be. They should have some sense of integrity, that they come together and start doing. First of all, it's their job. If they see a judge acting like this, they're supposed to go against that unethical behavior, and vice versa. A judge is supposed to do it to the attorneys. It's not supposed to be their court. It's supposed to be the people's court if you wanted to do it right, and they're supposed to keep everything proper. It's supposed to be proper, decent, and in order, and it's not. So that's where we do. And if I can do it as a woman, a single woman, if I could do it and come up against these giants every day, and I do it, why can't anybody else do it? I don't understand.
Well, I get part of that, because I was destroyed after mine. Yeah. Lost my kids, lost everything, lost whatever. Yeah. I was a shell of a guy, because on top of which, I was denied my due process. I was, all the stuff that I ever learned in social studies in 6th grade was a lie, and the family court Hal Harrison, the son of a bitch, he called my attorney, my previous attorney, to the stand to testify against me. Who the hell? No one has ever heard of this. He did that. Not only that, he did it in like 2 hours.
I don't think they're even allowed to under the Code of Ethics.
Oh, excuse me. North Carolina Judicial Commission? That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I made the complaint. I made the complaint when he signed a subpoena on the 19th that I have to appear in court within 12 hours.
Wow.
I was like, I don't have due process. Mm-hmm. I don't care. He just, it's not an inalienable right. It's, I'm going to hurt you. because
Right.
you protested against my brother in arms, brother in black,
Yeah.
that called him out as a child abuser.
Yeah.
These guys are so corrupt.
They
And
are.
even when you bring it to the Judicial Commission, they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we don't
They don't
care
care.
about you.
They're,
We
they're
don't care about your rights. We don't
Yeah.
care about your children.
They're all in each other's pockets. They're
I
all.
know. And so, you learn a lot in how unfair, unlaw abiding these sons of bitches are.
Yeah. Here's a
And
couple of
it's
comments
sad.
I want you to see. There's a couple of things. It says, broken system, broken trust. Says, why do the family courts throw up so many objections to being recorded? It's almost like they are keeping secrets in there. I think you just said it, or you said it right there. There's two things going on there. First of all, okay, judicial immunity is completely taken away under the Americans with Disability Act, just so you guys know. And there's other reasons too. But judicial immunity, I always call it the get out of jail free card, and it's illegal. It should have never been in the first place. But when it comes to cameras in the court, obviously there are families themselves that don't want cameras. They personally don't want their story out there, and that's their business. If they do, that's their business. But if the family says it's okay, I say anything goes inside the courtroom. I want the courtrooms. First of all, they're supposed to be public. Public people can come in at any time. So what's the difference if you're recording it or if you're showing it? Some courts do show them. I've got New Jersey courts. As soon as we're done, they'll hand me the audio right there. Boom, on the spot.
Nice.
So I in New York, no, we don't have an audio. You can't touch it. And they redact the transcripts. So I agree with you. It should be. I know James Kelly, he's been fighting for this for quite a while. Cameras in the court. Okay. And it should be. They're already there. It's just that we should have access to them unless the family says, I don't want my business out there. Okay.
Exactly.
Excuse the child. Baloney. They're so full of it. And the best interest of the child, like you were saying earlier, if you read the prongs to the best interest of the child, if they actually follow those prongs, we wouldn't be in this mess. Nobody would be in this mess, but they don't follow their own laws.
Exactly. I mean, like I say, laws are made for us, not for them. They could care less about their canons, about their stuff.
No.
They're.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say other than I've never seen anything as corrupt and as backed up for being corrupt. So all these players, like I say, it's sheriff's department, police departments, judicial commissions, attorney generals, they'll back up the criminal activity.
Yeah.
And
local police officer I know personally, same Judge McGinty. He used to drive McGinty after the parties. He was told, you have to drive him because he's all high on cocaine and alcohol. You need to drive him home so he doesn't kill somebody. And that's what he would do. And then he was a reputable cop though, that would, if his best friend, the police officer did something wrong, he would turn him in because he had a that's the position that he had. He was in his one name, but he really wasn't that. He was I don't know what they call that, but he was really supposed to keep an eye on the police officers, but they didn't know that he was that guy. And then if his worst enemy, the cop, did something good, he would, honor him. So he was like, he had a lot of integrity, and lo and behold, McGinty destroyed his life, ripped his family apart, took his children from him, destroyed this man, de-gunned him and everything, left him, like you said, as a shell. And I fight so hard for him. Matter of fact, his wife and him together came to me for help. And then all of a sudden, because McGinty destroyed them so badly, destroyed these people, she was terrified at this point, and he did this to these people. It was sick to watch. It was like, but you guys stay together as a family and fight him, not fight against each other. But at certain points, the psychological damage was so bad, there's nothing I could do. And I begged him, let me interview you. You're going to have the people who bleed blue, and you're going to have the people who hate cops love you. You're going to have both sides love you. What you know what I'm saying? Because you're that cop. You're not the idiot cop. You're that cop. You're the good guy. And he wouldn't.
And that's probably why McGinty took him down.
McGinty took him right down. And but every dog does have his day. Now, here's one, Charles Rosalie. My ex is doing just that, severing the bond between the kids and I. And you wonder if that's even like the judge too, with the threats, or she's just a psycho and she's just doing this.
There is, it's funny because I know you're very woman oriented, and I was I wasn't quite man oriented, but I made a couple posts on some of these parental alienation sites and stuff like that. And one of my posts in 24 hours had 80 women
Yeah.
respond. I'm like, holy moly, how many women are there? And then
They were saying that it was happening to them, right?
well, yeah, and the question was, because this really hit home, how many people out there have literally their families don't understand what they are going through.
Right. And I don't understand.
And unfortunately, there's so many that,
Yeah.
they want to say, well, what did you do? What
Right.
happened? You don't see your kids. What did you do? And you're
Right.
like, nothing. I went to
Right.
family court.
Right. Everything was fine until I walked into that hellhole, into that twilight zone. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just absolutely sick. It's absolutely sick.
Yep.
So I have a cop watching, court watching channel. Oh, Broken System, Broken Trust says I have a cop watching, court watching channel here on YouTube and TikTok. Go ahead and post it so we can show it to the audience. I'd like to get that
Absolutely.
up. I also have, just real briefly, if I can find this. This is a new sponsor, guys. It's called Lyra Rugs. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me just see if I can put that up for you guys just real
That's
quick.
pretty.
Yeah, it's lyrarugs.com, and they make their own rugs. And here you go. And the owner is Marla Miller, and they're also hand moving rugs. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, those are pretty.
And you can go to the sponsor, which is Lyra Rugs, LERARUGS.com. So thank you for that, Lyra Rugs. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
We go back to childabusivejudges.com, so they can just literally click on that and tell them what they
fill out the form, submit. Now I do all this by hand. I copy the judge onto the site. I actually pay people to go through the complaints.
Okay.
And go and pick out everybody and then separate them, but based on lawyers, based on, sheriff's departments, based on whatever.
Yeah.
And then I have that separate page where you can actually see childabuserregistry.com. And then you can see all the people on the bottom who they filled out. These people are also involved in the abuse of my kids, the abuse of children. Because bottom line, all 50 states, I don't care where you're at, you are obligated to report suspected child abuse.
Yes.
While I have these sites, bottom line is that I have this site because the government won't do it. They won't keep a registry. They won't put the names of these judges who people are accusing of child abuse. So there has to be some form of registry where you can actually see all the people who were involved.
Right.
So you can say, oh, well, I don't want that judge. I don't want that attorney. I don't want those people involved because those people have hurt other children or at least suspected of hurting other children.
That's right. That's right. And if more and more people keep reporting, keep filing, keep standing your ground, don't be afraid of these people. I know it's terrifying because I know that's saying a lot when I say don't be afraid of them, okay? Because it's terrifying what they can do and what they do, and to damage your families, to put people in jail for no reason, to take your children, to when you're escaping an abuser, when we're trying to protect your children from being sexually abused. Of course, I'm not saying don't be afraid of that. Of course, that's logical. But I'm also saying that I noticed that when we go in professionally, articulately, so to speak, and you're going into these courts and you're invoking your rights. And I am speaking in these courts. I sit next to my clients. I speak. I get opposing counsel saying, she can't do that, blah, blah, blah. And then I get the judge saying, I already approved it. Okay. And the thing is with the Americans with Disability Act, what people don't understand is that they cannot approve or they cannot grant or deny that right. They think they can. So once I tell them how it is, it does change. So when you go in and you start going in and you try to be at peace as best as you can, and don't go in with fear, because I always say a dog smells fear, right? Don't go in with that fear. Go in and have some faith, have some trust. It really is. All these different things are literally game changers. So if you haven't been back in the court and you need to get back in the court, I have a woman right now. She was told she can never file a motion again. I laughed. I said, no, we're going to have a meeting next week and we're going to be filing and we're going back in and you're going to get what you need. Okay.
Exactly.
She had her son in, I think, like 3 years. Okay. It's just sick. Absolutely makes no sense at all. Like I always say, make it make sense, because none of this stuff makes any sense.
Yeah.
So don't think that there's nothing. And also, if you have a final order, if you have a settlement agreement, if you have a stipulation, and they tell you it's done, you can't do it again. That's not true. Nothing's forever. Trust me when I tell you, we've fought all that kind of stuff. We fight convoluted cases and we win them. Okay.
I would love to hear more about your ADA.
I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, because I know that's so powerful.
Mhm.
And people don't know about it, or don't know enough about it, don't know how to use it. Because I was in court for 3 years.
Yeah.
And the last year I had such judicial abuse. I wound up with with complex PTSD so bad, I
Yeah.
was stuttering. I could not complete
Yes.
a sentence.
Yes.
And you don't understand, most people don't understand, that you literally lose that ability to think. You lose the ability to be like, what's right, what's wrong, why is this happening to me? And you try and run, how do I do this, how do I get out of this, how do I get my kids back, over and over and over again.
Yes.
How do I save my children?
Do you see them
over and over again.
at all, or like videos or anything at all, or nothing?
I have not seen or spoken to my daughters in 9 years.
I'm horribly sorry to hear that. Let me tell you something. Legal abuse syndrome is what you have. Okay. You can sue for that. And it is now on the DSM-5.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So that's what that is. And that's what's happened. And it's like acute PTSD. So that's what's happened to you. And if I knew you, then, now, are there things you can do now? Yes, there are very powerful things you can do now. So we'll talk about that for sure.
I would love that.
And we do everything. When I tell people, I joke around, I don't just wear one hat. I wear multiple hats, because domestic violence, child abuse, human rights, and the Americans with Disability Act work hand in hand.
Yeah.
So all the different violations that they have and that they violated are suable actions. Okay. And like I said, there is no such thing as judicial immunity against the violating the Americans with Disability Act. So, and I have to educate these judges like, well, we'll see if we can grant Francesca to come in or not. No, you can't, because you can't leave a seeing eye dog. You wouldn't grant somebody having a wheelchair or not. Why are you saying the person can't have me? Like, well, hello, you don't even make any sense.
Exactly.
And if their seeing eye dog, so to speak, or if their comfort animal was their grandmother who has no education whatsoever in the Americans with Disability Act, okay, she could be blind and deaf herself, but she's their comfort animal, so to speak.
Yep.
A judge can't grant or deny her to come in. She just may not have the background she needs to help the person by knowing what's happening, like what's violating. Okay. Where I've got the expert background, but if that's who they want, that's who they get. The judge can't say, I grant grandma to come in here. No.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, but they think they have this power, and they use the word reasonable accommodation. And they interpret the word reasonable accommodation to mean what they want. But what is it a reasonable accommodation? It's not what you interpret it as.
It's what that person needs.
It's exactly. If I'm the one with the disability, I know what I need. You don't know what I need.
Yeah.
Okay. If I might have a disability, and then I have these other ignorant attorneys, and you're completely ignorant if you say this to your clients. Well, don't use the ADA, because then they can use that against you. Really? Well, then look at July 2022 on the United States Department of Justice website. From forcing non-compliance complaints all over the country, they had to put it up on the website to tell judges, you are mandated and required to have the disability rights not only protected, but you can't take children because of those types of disabilities. Now, if a person was had a criminal situation, that's a whole different story.
Totally.
They're walking like, werewolf, and they're foaming from the mouth, and they're biting the heads of chickens at night. Yeah, okay, that's different, but we're talking about post-traumatic stress. We're talking about depression. We're talking about anxiety and all these kinds of things that they cause you to have. You probably
No kidding. I'm writing an article right now because, I'm dealing with one of the guys from the FBI, Richard Sutherland. He's in the Charlotte Hickory office of North Carolina. And I showed him ADA issues. I told him about the judge calling my attorney up to the stand. I mean, I showed him certain things, and I said, here, we have 410 plus judges accused of child abuse. You know, his response was, you need to have every one of those people call our 800 number. Do you
Oh,
know they're now? You can
okay.
listen on childabusivejudges.com FBI, /FBI.
Okay.
I recorded 2 calls.
.com/FBI.
Yeah, I have 2 calls on the top recorded.
Okay.
Both calls, they hang up on me.
Yeah, I've had that.
Okay. And I've made a few calls. I've spoke to other FBI agents, Amy Howard out of Loveland, Colorado. I'm like, listen, this is wrong. And she's like, I promise you, I will investigate this within 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months. I actually had to file charges against her for not reporting child abuse, which every
And
state.
what happened with that? I'm curious. What happened with that when
I got a letter. It said, thanks, we're looking into it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of laziness, and there's also the whole bureaucracy. You know what I'm saying? Because Amy, maybe she had good intentions, but then they said, you ain't going nowhere with this. You're done. You understand what I'm saying? So
Totally.
we're going through, but keep it up. Like I'm telling you, I hope that this video today, this interview brings on 5,000 more people just today and every day. I'm sorry, what? We can do that. We can get at least 5,000 people a day on your website. No question if this gets spread.
That would be wonderful, but I would like to also get everyone together and just start bombarding them with phone calls. Listen,
Yes.
I want the investigation number. I want to follow this, and they need, they need to record, whatever interactions they have with the FBI, because they start. By the way, your phone call is going to be recorded. Yes, it is. And you just you put it online. You show how much these people don't care about your children, how much they don't care about the Constitution, and how they're willing to sell your soul.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
We start getting 100, 200 phone calls of like just abusive FBI agents.
Yeah.
I mean, I've written Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray is the FBI director.
Okay.
It took 6 months. Thanks, got your letter.
How do you like?
This is child abuse.
Exactly.
Thanks, got your letter. Have a nice day.
How do you like public integrity? We're here to make sure that the government is in integrity and blah blah. Then you read what they're supposed to do. Then you call them up and you tell them the problem, and they're like, "I'm sorry, we don't handle this." What do you mean you don't handle this? I'm reading it. It's on your website, word for word.
Absolutely.
I got an A in this topic.
I got a C- in reading. Sorry. But
let's talk about gaslighting. Like that's gaslighting. Like, what do you mean I'm not reading what I'm reading?
I know. And it, that's one of the things that Richard Sutherland said. Oh, we don't do that. We don't protect kids. I'm like, no. Christopher Wray, our main job is to protect children in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you just look and you're like, this is what he said. This is verbatim. Here are all the different FBI jobs that they've done about trafficking children and child abuse. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that they're not going to do a thing now?
Right.
That's not our job.
No, but we can make this happen. And Fernando here, how you say Arizari. I'm on board. I called the FBI 2 times and I was brushed off when my little ones were kidnapped. But if you guys, I would just suggest that. So you want everybody to just keep calling the FBI now.
Okay. Here's like some beautiful tactics. Okay. Number 1, call the FBI. Put your case in. Try and get your case number. Put it on speakerphone. Record your office. I don't know if it's legal to record your call.
I'm not sure.
Record your office. So if the voice comes out and you're recording your office, I do believe that's fair. But I'm not. I'm
in your house all the time, right?
Exactly. Number 2, FBI, American Psychological Association, Psychiatric Association, all of them. This is funny. Sorry. All of them have websites. Mm-hmm. All of them are on Google reviews. Leave a review for the APA, for the American Psychological Association. They had 23 reviews.
Good.
No, hold on. After we started to get momentum, they had 55 to 60 reviews. They took down their website.
Oh, Oh,
Got
interesting.
rid of all the reviews
Wow.
and just put up a brand new website.
So
Leave them reviews.
hit him again. Hit him again. Yeah.
Yes. Find they're in DC, write them up, tell them about their being child abusers, that they've already, they've gotten petitions from Dr. Craig Childress. They've gotten,
Yeah.
they've gotten, letters from me. They've gotten 300 people asking what's going on. They're child abusers. There's no two ways about it, because they wrote in that letter decades of experience, empirical data. They know it, and they're sitting there harming people and harming children.
100%. And I can tell you, I know everybody, there's experts that are court experts that are phonies, but genuine experts, and I respect that are genuine experts. They will tell you over and over again, they are nothing short of child abusers. Nothing. Yep. And you like just this interview today alone, and just a few things that we've touched on. I think it's abundantly clear that they are.
And you know what the best thing is? You're not calling them child abusers. I'm not calling them child abusers. They are calling themselves child abusers. They wrote in that letter that separating parents and children is child abuse. This is all we're saying is you wrote it, you got to live with it, and you're doing everything to harm children and parents.
Well said. 100%.
We don't, it's, how can you sit there and say this is fine? Send it. And I asked the FBI, Richard Sutherland. By the way, he pushed everything up to his supervisors in the FBI. So it's not just him, it's his supervisors and everybody up the chain. I was like, all I want is a public release or a press release that says, family court, separating children and parents need to be imminent danger. If you separate parents, you are literally denying constitutional rights of people.
100%.
You are, and so that's all I wanted. This way, they know that they're looking at them. Okay, the APA. I wish they would write that and say, listen, we need to write this because there's over 1 million people being separated. Let's just put this in there so they're aware that what they're doing, their actions can literally harm children for life and kill parents.
100%.
And their bottom line was no, if you want that, you got to write the Christopher Wray or whoever. Like, no, I'm talking to you.
Right.
Do your job. And you can't, unfortunately, these guys will hide behind whatever they can hide behind.
Well, and they're making so much money through the foster care system, and that's where the children are really being damaged. That's where they're going out into life and they're becoming nothing. They're illiterate. They're a lot of times, watch it. You can go on Netflix and you can see people who are in prison, and that's where they came out of, the foster care system.
80% of them are being trafficked the moment
they're being trafficked. It's like 90%, believe it or not, and they'll admit that too. That's the sickest part about it. They know it's happening there. So why are you putting them there? Because you want to traffic them.
There are pimps literally waiting at the door
to take them. Yeah, it's psycho. It's sick. But I gotta say, I really, really, really appreciate you. I think we should have you back on. I know the audience, I think we need, guys, spread this video. Again, it'll be appearing on probably tomorrow or the day after on Rumble, Punish for Protecting News on Rumble, and CPS News Network, possibly tonight or tomorrow. Spread it like wildfire. Spread it to all your friends list. I know at least 10 people, and I know you know more than that. Each person that watches this knows at least hundreds of families who have been negatively impacted through the family court and child predator services. So spread this message. Get on that website. Every time you hear about another bad judge, which won't take you much, get their names on there. Attorneys, whoever. Go ahead.
Okay, I got one other thing. If you're on the website and you want to make a statement,
child abusers wear black robes.
There it is. Yep, I have these shirts on there. You buy 3, buy 5. You guys,
I'll get one.
I'm a marketing guy.
Yeah.
You guys want posters? You want banners? I will sell them to you at my cost.
Okay.
And so if anybody wants to make demonstrations and bring in family, bring in friends, I am happy to help you guys out.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes that's what it takes, because if you're buying a banner and buying 6 shirts and you're buying this, it's going to
Yeah.
be like $300.
Yeah.
If you can get it for under 100, under $50
Right. It's worth it.
and make a statement,
That's,
yeah.
that's right. And I always tell everybody, when we have these events, to show up, for heaven's sake. They tell me they're going to show up. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. Just ask me, Francesca. I'll do anything. Show up. Where are you? Where are you? You'll do everything. So show up. That's what I ask you guys to do. Share a video. That doesn't take anything out of you, and show up.
And I do have PDFs that you can print out that basically goes down the list of the letter from the APA on June 14, 2018. What domestic violence is according to the Department of Justice. And it goes through the whole list of everything that defines everything, and it exactly says stuff. So, what are you doing? Hand them a flyer. Hand them a flyer. Have 100, 200 flyers. That's all you need. Just hand out the flyers and go out there. And don't be afraid to go out there and say, Judge McGinty, or in my case, Judge Hal Harrison, Judge Rebecca Eggers, are child abusers. Period. They're abusing your kid, and nobody is taking it seriously.
Because they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Yep.
They know what we're doing. So basically, we're going to make them crash in on each other. But I really appreciate you here.
You're damn right.
We're going to definitely bring you back on. I'm sure you're going to have a whole lot more complaints on that site. And I just want to emphasize, everybody that's watching and sharing this, make sure you call as well and do exactly what he said. Try to get a file number for your case, and whatever recording device is already in your house that's recording you anyway. I don't know if you're going to call that in on a speakerphone. Make sure you have a witnesses. Remember that we are the authority on this earth, and we're not taking our positions, and that's part of the problem.
Don't do it alone.
Don't do it alone.
Yeah, and get as many people as you can. Yes.
And thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate, having you on tonight, and I'm looking forward to having you back on.
You have great energy, Francesca.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Pretty tired, to be honest with you. You got my moments, but
no, what you're doing and the bringing light into this dark hellhole of child abuse, it takes a lot out of us, but eventually we'll persevere.
Like I said, and when I'm seeing that one kid got protected today, one kid came home, last week, every little thing keeps you going, going. Sure. Mine's in his bedroom. So I'm, thank you, God, awesome. But, and people like you, like I that's going to stay with me. That's going on. We have prayer groups all the time. So we got people praying for everybody, literally all the time, because you need prayer with this. I mean, there's no getting through this without. And you're added to the list now, like in your family, and the fact that you haven't seen your children in 9 years, that's just, there's no words for that. Thank you. It's just not right. And, and it's hell. And I know it is. It's not easy.
It is. You wake up. I mean, I could tell you all the symptoms you wake up thinking about. Are they okay? The worst part is, thank God I'm past some of the worst part where you have nightmares.
Yeah. And
you're waking, you have a dream, you're playing with your kids somewhere, and you turn around and they're gone.
Yeah.
And then you're screaming in your nightmare, and you're like, where are they? Where are they? And you wake up in a cold sweat, and you realize it's not a nightmare, it's reality.
Yeah.
So, luckily I'm past that, but I know people are still in a year, 2 years, 3 years of not seeing their kids, and their kids may be 12 or 15. It destroys me. And you want to do everything you can for these people.
Well, I believe it. I always have faith that things are going to turn around. I've seen some of the worst cases in years turn around. I've seen kids come back after they're closer to adults, unfortunately, and I hate that. And then you got the rest of those years to just restore everything. And I'm not saying that's not what it should have been, but I do believe that will happen. And Ramona, she's my Canadian chapter leader. She's saying, "I'm so sad for you, Ken. Prayers are with you. It will turn around." So,
and Ramona, just to let you know, on the website, if you file that and say, when it says city and state, you can put Canada in whatever place you're in, because I have reported judges
Yeah.
Canadian reported judges, Australian reported judges. So I'm waiting for them to come in, because then I'll have UK reported judges, and I'll just keep adding pages.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I was actually going to ask you about that. And Ramona just reminded me when she popped up that message for you on the screen. So again, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I also want to say that real briefly, the music that you heard right after the infomercial is by Charles Jones, and that is With Permission. It's premiered here for the first time. Awaken, what an excellent song, and perfect and so appropriate for this, to break, to be on for the first time after this message tonight. So I really appreciate you, Charles Jones, and thank you for the honor of letting us play that for the first time. And anybody that's any of your social media outlets, this is With Permission. So do not silence me. I really appreciate that. Again, it's with permission, so I don't want to have to appeal it. But anyway, thank you again, Ken. I really appreciate having you. And we will definitely get you back on here, because I want to continue to motivate people to keep filling out that form and calling the FBI. And we'll say well. So thank you.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate this.
Okay. It's my pleasure. It was an honor. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Francesca.